Yo, what's going on? What's going on, man? Y'all come on in right quick. Come on in, man. Let's have a conversation.
Oh, well,
And
since we on.
conversation, I mean, we don't had the conversation, but we gonna go a little bit more in depth this episode because
Ooh.
if y'all see the thumbnail, it say insane. And when I say insane, it's insane. Three balls and two strikes. Said ran fire defensive team special teams coordinator after NFL loss after Thursday night loss. Raheem should
Mm-hmm.
take notes. And three balls and two strikes. That's where we headed with this one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta stop playing stupid and uh, use common sense. Because as we always say, common sense ain't common these days. But when you part of that buddy system, you get the benefit of the doubt. Yuri, what's up, man? I
What's
always
happening?
appreciate you sharing our stuff, man. We appreciate it. But Chris, give them a little bit of insight into what we're gonna talk about. I don't want to go all the way into I don't want to give it away. But tell the folks what's up. Tell the folks.
Hey man, how y'all doing, man? It's time to talk about some things that are making the Atlanta Falcons look bad, man. We actually got a couple of topics that we're gonna go over, articles, and we got some things that has happened, and people getting fired and people staying and everything. But it's all wrapped up into this show. I'm really kind of like checking the temperature with you guys as well, man. It's just like a super show, a mini super show, man. Because we're gonna definitely go over the injury report, and we need to let you guys know who's in and who's out for tomorrow's game as well. So yeah, man. Yeah, and what's up to the chat, everybody in the chat? Silk Legacy, 3 balls, 2 strikes. C Dub, 55747. Yuri, D Nasty just popped in saying fire Raheem. We live with it, man, on a Saturday night. On a Saturday night. On a
That's
Saturday
what we
night.
hoping for. D Nasty, that's what we hoping for. And you might just be done because it's looking like we're gonna keep Kurt. Cause I'm sure they don't want to pay another quarterback. And I hate to say that. If they do, it's gonna be a guy that's well below the radar. And we ain't talking about Jameis Winston, we talking about Easton Stick or somebody like that.
Oh God.
Bring,
Throw a
bring back
pig.
Marcus. Bring pull up with a stick, throw a pick. You know what time it is. Razor boy was good, man. But look, I mean, we can go 1,000 ways with this. But since we didn't bring y'all the injury report last night,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wish Jameis was an option. Yuri, honestly, I wish Jameis was an option. Uh, we're gonna start with the injury report since we didn't pull out that last night. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it tonight and start the show off with that. And it's getting a little suspect, man, because we think we've been talking
A
about
little,
the last couple of weeks. It's just
a little suspicious.
yeah, a little suspicious. Yeah, a little suspicious. Not a little, a lot suspicious to me.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching football for a long time. G Trey, what's up, man? This is the injury report from Mark Raimondi, Falcon beat reporter, ESPN. If you look at end of the week report, this is usually going into Sunday's game. You see the game report at the bottom. This is the practice on yesterday. Full participation, you see that. Limited, kind of expected that. Did not participate. Cordero Hard, shoulder, placed on IR. So he's done
Mm-hmm.
for the season. And that's kind
Yeah.
of strange that that's happened. And he missed what the last 2 games before playing last week. 2 out of the last 3 weeks he was in a healthy scratch, and now he's on IR with a shoulder. That's kind of
Um,
suspect to me. And I'm just thinking,
and I
is
can't
this one?
remember him leaving the game though, bro. Like I'm just thinking, I don't remember him leaving the game.
He didn't lead the
But
game. That's what I'm telling you, and that's why it's suspicious because is it one of them incentive based things as to where they trying to save money? Because I've heard and I've had NFL players tell me that at the end of the season to keep that bonus down or
hmm
don't pay that bonus, they will sit you for like final game, final quarters, second half, or whatever to escape that bonus. So that's
right.
what it seemed like to me because I didn't even know he was hurt. because it was suspicious to me. And we know Mike Hughes was hurt. And Mike
Yeah,
Hughes
we
been
know
hurt
about
in
Mike
2 of the
Hughes.
last 3 weeks. So we know about him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that did not participate. Wasn't no surprise with none of those either. But before I get into it, man, go ahead and place your thoughts on that Kadarius Hart situation.
I'm really trying to really rack my brain because I could have sworn I remember seeing him after the game. He didn't. I don't want to like misspeak or anything like that, but I just don't remember any time a part of the game to where he had to like say run off the field or run off the field injured or went down with the
Right.
injury. And I don't remember him going in the blue tent. Like I just don't remember none of those things. So that is strange though, Smitty. I admit, like he's been a
And you
healthy
like,
scratch.
yeah, yeah, and you've been hearing reports about Raheem saying that Drake could play this week.
Mm,
And Cordero Hard, man, he's a special teams ace, and we set him for 2 weeks, and the special team was off for both games. But now he's on the shelf for IR for the rest of the season. Like I said, it just makes me think incentive based benching because let's be real, it might be another one of those things like we've been talking about all season. Once they place you on IR and you get into it with the coaches and things of that nature, they're gonna find a way to punish you. So maybe it's that. Who knows? But
that's
as I'm looking
wild.
on Twitter right now, Scott says it's kind of odd that London did not practice today is listed as questionable, never had a full practice. And that's the thing. See, they're throwing us for a loop, man. And they saying Drake London could play this week, but he did not participate in practice.
Watch it
So
gonna get to watch it gonna get to be like 2:15 and be like, oh, Drake London tried to give it a go and it wasn't what he wasn't able to do it and now he's out.
yeah, see what I'm saying? It means something just not adding up, bro. It's not. And as I'm looking at Charlie Warner and David Onyemata, said they was resting. We knew Mike Hughes, like I said, had the injury. He's out. Questionable is Drake London, and how is he questionable? He hadn't practiced. He did do a little run at the beginning of the week. James Pierce, uh, he's had a foot issue the last couple of weeks, but I mean that's warranted. And Brandon Dorley said his shoulder and illness. I mean, some of these things, some of these designations just don't make sense to me. They just don't. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm overreacting because I don't know what's going on inside them folk body. But it said Bijan Robinson illness, the offer illness, but they participated fully. There's a stomach virus. I want to know. Lakia London shoulder growing for Ruka. Man, look, come on, talk to
Man,
us.
I'm talking about my goodness. These folks, man, this list is we knew it was gonna be like this, Smitty. We talked about this a weeks ago, talking about how we had the early buy. So having that early buy is and it's sad because we needed it at that time with injuries.
Right.
And now we just got this full list, bro. Like people, yeah, we got full participation and I'm happy about, St. Rook and Lakel and even Leonard Floyd and everybody like that, but still with the do not participate, so James Pierce Jr. I'm kind of nervous about that. I know he's questionable for the game, but I'm kind of nervous about that because your foot, you got to have that get off, and so that's one thing about him, his speed, and if he can't have that same get off, it's like, do you sit him this game? Do you sit him for the rest of the season? Do you start asking like those type of questions and. I really want him to be able to finish strong because he looks like he's going to eclipse that double-digit sack total for like the first time in forever for the Falcons. So
2016, nine
yeah, man,
years, long
9 years.
time. And,
Some of y'all
and
didn't
I,
even have kids 9 years ago.
yeah, man, I was in 10th grade about 9 years ago in high school, so she good and grown now. But look, man, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's really going on with this staff, man, because as y'all heard um in reports that and it's true that they cut Jamal Agnew,
Yes,
um kick
yes.
returner, punt returner, 45 total returns, whether it's whether it's punt return or kick return, had 45. And y'all remember the Jets game where he fumbled inside the 5. To me, that was the beginning of the end because I think he was a healthy scratch the next 2 games. And really, Devin Tompkins last week took his spot. Uh, but I think he did return 1 punt, but Devin Tompkins
Yeah.
did most of the returning last week, and that pretty much sealed his fate.
Mm,
And the reason why we got into that discussion when he got released, and then also they resigned C.J. Henderson to the active roster, the 53-man roster, which they should have done at the beginning
should
of the
have been
season
did that.
to have depth. Um, yeah, we about to get into that, Aries. But yeah, you look at those moving. I think Khalid, Kareem, and who else? Somebody else got called up today as well.
Uh,
But
Chris Blair.
Chris Blair, right? So when
Uh,
you look at all these moves, I mean, what took so long? You've been needing help at the receiver position, and it's just head scratching to me. And like I keep telling y'all, man, it seems more and more evident that it seems like Raheem is coming back. Because if you look at the moves now, I mean, if he wasn't coming back, he would just keep playing whatever and doing whatever. But now is a little bit too late. And I honestly think if he comes back next year, we're gonna have a bad start in next season. Pretty much like Dan Quinn in last season. Last
mm-hmm.
season we said, well, Dan Quinn can turn it around. Starting
Yeah.
season 0-5.
And
So
again, that's the fool's goal, man. That's that because what Dan Quinn, well, I think he won out, or I think he only had one loss down the stretch, and it
yeah, I
was
think
like,
he was
okay,
5-1, 4-1, or
yeah,
5-1 to end that season.
right. And then you got that, so you had that spark, and it was just like enough for Arthur to be like, okay, well, you was able, the guys want to play for you. They're obviously showing that, so maybe you can turn this thing around because you took some responsibilities on it, say for yourself.
Right.
And maybe history does repeat itself, and maybe it could work for Raheem. But we don't want it to as fans, but we gotta just go off of what we've seen, and until we see different, what else do we have to go off of?
Whew. And the reason why I think it's just as dumb as a box of rocks
Mm,
is um if that does happen and he comes back and we start off the same way 0-5, that's just a season wasted. And the reason why I say that is because if you start off with at a bad record with a coach that should have been fired instead
mm,
of starting the season out bad with a new coach, that's understandable. But it's just to see that they still want to start the season with that crap, it just puzzled to me. And as I said, man, it just seemed more and more likely that he's probably going to come back. And I hate to say that because I know Falcon fans, and you said it too, that we deserve better than that. But
mm-hmm.
who are we to question what they do and they the one cutting the checks? But at the same time, we paying their bills and doing what we got to do to make sure they support it the right way.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, I look at it like this. And depending on what happens this Sunday, because again, I keep saying that we're in the evaluation process already. I know what Arthur Blank said at the end of the season, there will be an evaluation of Raheem and Terry at the end of the
Right.
year. But at the same time, for us Falcon fans, we've been already evaluating. Really, most of our evaluation process is really over for the most part. It's just getting to the end of the regular season. But the fact that it's still a few games, 3 games in particular, that the Falcons still have a chance to possibly, and Raheem in particular still has a chance to show that yes, these guys still want to play for me. They still are responding to my messages. We just not fully executing. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get rid of this guy. I'm gonna get rid of that guy. I'm gonna go get some more experience here. Go get some more experience there, and then so we're gonna go after that thing. And I
Yeah.
remember I talked about it in the last live, and I'll bring it up for the people who might have missed it. The fact about Dan Campbell and how I know he was with the Lions, but his first season, it was a dud. Second season, it was a little bit better at 9-8, and then the third season they took off. Like Raheem, even though his is kind of in the verse, he had a better first season than he's gonna have this year, most likely. So it did kind of go in reverse, but he could still try to use that as an angle and say, look, it takes time to build things. We're trying to, saying, go in the right direction. I feel like we're going in the right direction. And he can use that, and Arthur Blank possibly could go for it. Not
Yeah,
saying he will, but it's still that possibility that he may, especially with giving this guy like the 5-year contract. Now Terry Fontenot only has 1 year left on the contract for him, but he has no extension. That's the point. So
facts.
but yeah, man, this right here was quite interesting. I thought when Adam Scheffler reported it.
Yeah, Jeff, I agree, man. He will lose the fan base to a certain degree. Um, and yeah, let me see. It was another one that I saw that I want to read. Uh, John Moreno said, "I believe you're wrong. Arthur Blank is a businessman. He needs his seats filled next year. If Mars there, fans won't show up. This is why Mars is gone. That's a possibility.
Man,
That's
I'm with you.
absolutely a possibility.
I promise you, I'm with you, John. Because you know what, John? You know what that is right there that you just said? That's logic. But we
Yeah.
know that we don't always operate by that.
Oh, ain't that the damn truth? It said easy to point out to blame Raheem, but the energy need to be pointed at the clown that hired him. I mean, that's true too. Because we said it wasn't a smart hire from the jump.
Yeah,
But
we did.
this is where we got this idea from the show today. Chase Blackburn was fired. Special teams coordinator of the Rams. He was fired today. And if they it's the same thing that happened with Marquise Williams. 3 of the last 4 games, special team has been terrible. So what do you do when someone is not, showing up and coaching the proper way? You let them go. And the reason why I named this show "This Makes the Falcons Look Bad" is because what has been going on with the Falcons coaching staff all season. And you look at it started with I hear you. We've been talking about that for the last month and a half, maybe
Yes.
2 months now, um, about him getting let go, and players responding to that. And now you look at special team Marquise Williams. If I Hilliard was a problem with the wide receivers, and they haven't gotten better,
Mm-hmm.
and Marquise Williams is a special teams coordinator, and they've got progressively worse, sort of like what went on with the Rams. And then you look at also you can go offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. The offense is working better up under Kurt, but that's more of Kurt executing the system because he's a veteran quarterback than it is Zach Robinson leading his offense and scheming with the play caller. So this is what I told y'all was the problem last year when Kurt was in. The reason why Zach looked good last year was because Kirk
Player
Cousins, the
coach.
veteran. Kirk Cousins leading everything out on the field. He knows when to audible. He can read hot routes. He can do all of that. But at the same time, Michael Penix look totally opposite of what Kurt is doing. So when you see a firing like this from, to me, one of the best teams in the NFC, possibly a Super Bowl favorite, to make a move like this late in the season. So you mean to tell me that Falcons, who are out of the playoffs, couldn't make a move like this sooner rather than later, and they probably could be in this same playoff race still? Because let's be real, with the Jets, cost us a win. Who else? Really, the game after that cost us a win.
I was about to say multiple
I mean,
games.
it was about 3 to 4 games that the special teams cost us a win because of field position.
Bro, it wasn't just in losses. The special team was costing us field position even in our wins. It's just we was able to overcome it because the
Right.
offense might have been clicking that game and the defense is stepping up, blowing this back. And so at the end of the
Fact.
day, the special teams has been our biggest weakness the entire season, more than anything else. So I don't understand how a team that is on the verge of a number 1 seed, possibly, or we know they're going to the playoffs nonetheless, and they make this move right here, that means they're over there in Los Angeles. They're just saying that we have a standard. And when you are not living up to the standard, who knows? Chase might have been already on the bubble. And this right here just tipped them right on off. And they went ahead and handed him his walking papers. You
Right.
handed Ike Hiller his walking papers, some wide receiver coach, guy who the guys were responding to, saying that, it was performance based or whatnot. And next thing you know, we're talking about performance, and we're not getting the right performance from our special teams, but yet the special teams coordinator is here. Then when you are asked about the special teams coordinator, will there be a change? No, there will not be a change. It's pretty much irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
Wow.
And think about it too, Chris. When you talk about the special team coordinator, how many special team players have been cut or benched?
I mean, the thing about it, you got so many guys that are healthy scratches. You don't know why or what it is. Like, is it on some things like, is people are like challenging them, and like they're saying mostly it's performance based. Guys mess up, they want to bench them. But my thing is like guys like Daryl Hodge was benched for multiple weeks. Healthy scratch. You got guys like Casey Washington, who at least could have been supposed to be playing special teams, healthy scratches. So it doesn't make sense. And like I said again, you're still keeping the special teams coordinator, and you just took forever to get rid of Agnew, who's had fumbles, muffs, a bad
Right.
field positioning. So you have that at times to where he should down it in the end zone and he brings it out. We've had all kind of things, and you finally got rid of him. But I'm sorry, that's just not enough. And you think about it too with the special teams coordinator, bro. Again, like we just talked about how many games like we've lost due to field position. And I just don't understand like how, if you're serious about trying to win and if you're confident about your job, that you don't fire the special teams coordinator. The fact that you said it's irrelevant really kind of makes me feel like even though you say you have the backing, full 100% of Arthur Blank, do you really? Because why
That yet
aren't
to
you
be
making
seen.
moves that will make
That yet,
sense?
yeah, that yet to be seen. Zay, I'm with Zay. He said absolutely crazy because we spent money on special teams in the off season. We re-signing Hodge, bringing back Mike Ford and Felipe Franks, and signing Agnew. And
Yep.
the special teams is still garbage. And don't get me
Bro,
wrong, one of the better
bro.
special team players is D'Angelo Malone, and I think he's on injury reserve. So you can't. And then another thing, we got rid of Nate Lamon, one of our best special teams players. Look at what he's doing in Los Angeles right now. So I
Bro,
mean, you made these choices with who you gonna bring back and who you feel like you need to pay. I mean, come on now, come on.
for
Go ahead.
Troy Anderson too. We
For
gotta
Troy
continue
Anderson.
to let that be known that that's the reason why Nate Lamon did not come back. The Rams signed him for $1 million.
Yep.
So I'm just
And
like,
he
it was
just got an extension. Yeah.
right. So it was obvious that so they're expecting Troy Anderson to come back. They spent the draft pick on him. They want to try to see what they can get out of him more so than late Lamon, the guy that they didn't draft. But
Right.
again, man, you got to put the football players on the field. And he didn't play at all this season. We don't even know what's going to happen, moving forward. But I don't think he deserves to be on the roster. I mean, it's not nothing personal, it's just you're not available. So let's give somebody who is available opportunities. I feel like it just should be that easy, but we're just not making things easy. And with the last few games of this evaluation process going, like for me, I don't need to see anything else, but apparently, our owner Arthur Blank still does. So when other teams are making moves around you and your team is not, it makes you feel like your team has no clue what they're doing.
And the crazy thing is, and we're finna get into it in a second, is makes you think what the hell is the front office looking at, watching Raheem not making the move that he needs to make, because you see, and like Chris said, when you see a team get better, you got to find a way to get better, because if you stay stagnant in the same spot, guess what? You're gonna be stuck in that spot uh, until doomsday, and that means it's gonna be season after season, just like we seen the last 8 seasons. At some point, and this is why me and Chris talked about Joe Burrow. Yeah, I know y'all don't like it, But if you want to win a championship, you got to make championship caliber moves. And with a win now roster, a Joe Burrow only makes sense. And you can take and see the Rams are setting the precedent as to how you should build a team and how you should with the coaches. And the sad part is Raheem was with the Rams 4 or 5 years, so he knows how they operate and what they do. And to see him not, building a championship contender or not being able to coach one, it's just mind blowing to me. And it was Zach Robinson returns and Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson returns. I got a feeling it's gonna be the same thing next season that's been going on the previous 2 seasons. And Chris made it. Chris made a great point. He said, with a 5-year contract and you get fired after 2, who wants to pay a guy 3 years for free? Nobody. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that aspect, man, look, and Zay, another great point. When you see your top rookies on special teams and they still not performing with Tyler Algier, that's got to be a coaching problem. Got to be. But you don't make changes. Boy.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's the snowball. That's the snowball that goes down the hill. It's just one thing after another. And it's making that snowball get bigger and bigger. And the only way that it's going to crash into a tree and finally stop rolling down the hill is if people get fired. People got to get moved on from, man. Like, you got to make the tough decisions. And we've been talking about Arthur Blank has to get out of his comfort zone, have to get uncomfortable. And we're not the only one that's saying these things. Like, it's like Falcon fans are saying it. Falcon fans who are just being real about this team. He said it's only $12 million left on Raheem's contract. Yeah, I understand. I definitely get it. And I feel like, he still needs to be let go. But it's not my decision to make. It's not my decision to make. That 12 mil, maybe it should be. It feels like nothing to us. But I mean, who knows? Arthur may be like, I don't want to, pay him that 12 million to do nothing.
Because they had to pay Arthur Smith this year. Think about that. They had to pay Arthur Smith this year. This was the final year of Arthur Smith's contract. So to have to do that, man, you had to bite the bullet for that, man. And honestly, you may not want to do it again, but it's at some point, that's why you got to make the right decision and be uncomfortable. And that's what I'm saying. Being comfortable comes at a price. If you're being comfortable and not producing, that comes at a price. And if you're unwilling to, make the necessary change because it's what you want and not what you need, then we're gonna keep having these conversations over and over again. But to know that these moves are being made, we talked about Raheem, and we talked about him coming back. But as me and Chris, and we finally finna get to this, and we really been talking about it. But tonight, we want to know y'all thoughts on it. What about Terry Fontenot and Scott Kennedy? Shout out to Scott Kennedy, our guy over from the Falcons SI, man. He wrote an article. And he made some great points in his article. He's headed in the right direction. And what do y'all think that they should do with Terry Fontenot? Because he like Chris said, he can't escape blame because he's the GM. And like who was that on the show, Chris, that said he got to speak up no matter if he GM or not? It was somebody on the show that we had on the show that said that. I think it was Miss B. Yeah, Miss B said he has, to speak up. If he don't like something, he need to say something about it, because guess what? If he don't say nothing, he let them make the moves, he getting fired anyway, no matter if he like the move or not, because he's a part of it. And when you don't speak up and put your foot down, these are the type of things that happen. But John Brooks talking about that. John, what's up, man? It's like the insanity. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. It's like stubbing your toe at the end of the bed. That shit hurt. When you wake up for a glass of water. And that's absolutely correct. At some point, man, you got to learn to switch it up, man. And you got to. Because what did we just talk about earlier? If you want to keep up with the elite teams, you got to make elite moves. And that means being uncomfortable and changing. Because as I said earlier, you look at the Philadelphians, you look at the Detroit Lions and all the top teams in the NFC. All these teams went out and made Super Bowl championship moves.
One way or another, they got it done. That's what it's about.
And think about this too, Chris. When you look at Philadelphia, yeah, they paid Jalen Hurts a boatload of money, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on offense. But how many veterans have they got for cheap just because they want to go there and play and win the championship?
Yeah, I mean that's a real thing, bro. But my thing is, can the Atlanta Falcons pull that off? There's only one way to find out. You got to make the tough decisions to be able to let people know that you're serious. And
Right.
I'm sorry, like right now, I feel like if you bring a Raheem back, you're not being serious. I get it. Starting over and having guys rather respond to a new message, I get it. But do we really want to take the risk of possibly wasting another season under this leadership of our guys? Like, we got to think about the players that rock with us too. Like, do you want to put them through that? Or do you
Right.
want to try to get somebody in here who could, enhance their careers and finally get them all to a playoff berth and see what that feels like? Because that's a different atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Falcon legend that support the sports machine at A1 forever. Keenan Fortney,
Mm.
Terrence Mathis, Chuck Smith, who's in Baltimore right now. You have coaches in your own backyard that could get the job done. But you scared to make those moves because you're not, putting those players on the forefront like you should of Falcon greats in the past, because a lot of them should be in the ring of honor. And I know they got that spot in the stadium where they have, Falcon legends, right there. Yeah, you could have hired Roddy as a receiver coach. You could have hired Terrence Matthews, who's at Morehouse right now, as a wide receiver coach. I mean, it's coaches in your backyard that could do the job, and you want to go out and use the buddy system. And what if those coaches come in? Because I'm sure those coaches have a relationship with the players on the current team right now. You can't tell me they don't. And
Mm.
that to me is a big telling sign how disconnected they are with the legends of the Falcons. Because as I talked to William Andrews, John Abraham, Chuck Smith, and these guys, uh, they don't be enthusiastic when they talk about the Falcons as far as ownership. They'll talk about their playing days, but they rarely they want to talk about what's going on with their front office, and I get it. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's neither here nor there. But they just got to fix the relationship with their legends. That's all I'm saying. They got to treat them better. And one thing that they could do, and a lot of them can, coach, give them a shot. You just don't know what can happen. If you're tied into the team like that, you just don't know what can happen. But like Yuri said, being eliminated from the playoff a month before the season ends in the worst division in the NFL, actually he should have been fired off that alone. And I honestly agree. Because no way in hell the Panthers should have beat us twice. No way in the hell. We should have beat the Bucks the first time. But Young Way Cool, the guy you brought back, the guy Raheem brought back, knew he was hurt. Okay, so yeah, you know where I'm going with that.
You know what I'm
But
saying, bro? Decisions. Again, that's why I go back to the snowball analogy. We can throw all type of different things into this mix, and then that's just going to make the snowball bigger and bigger and bigger. And it doesn't crash and break up and stop rolling until he gets fired.
yeah, agreed. And George said this organization had work to do like yesterday. And she
Yes.
absolutely correct. But let's get into this article right quick, and then we're gonna keep it rolling. Um, Scott Kennedy, a big supporter of the show, man. Y'all go check out Scott Kennedy on YouTube, man. He doing his thing, man. He has over 30,000 followers. So he doing his thing, man. But he talked about in this right here, this is what I wanted to highlight, and then there's another part below this. But he said Arthur Blank showed patience in the past, but he's running out with a franchise that hasn't made the playoffs in 8 years. He plans to evaluate the future of Raheem Morris, and y'all remember hearing this during the Tampa game. and general manager Terry Fontenot as the season draws to a close, as most owners do following trying campaigns. Um,
Mhm.
but he also says with dealing with a multi-billion-dollar industry of running an NFL franchise, millions of dollars are irrelevant when making decisions on the staff. Fontenot signed a 6-year deal when he took over for the Falcons. That he has 1 year left and won't
Mhm.
sway Blank's decision one way or the other. His first five are yet to produce a winning season, and Chris has said that 1,000 times.
Man.
But go ahead and give your thoughts on that before I go to the next part.
I mean, it just you're seeing it right there. I talked about it weeks ago. It just at the end of the day, the point is we haven't been winning. We've been doing all this, getting the salary cap together, bringing in talent, first round talents, 10 first rounders. In the first 4 years, and then you got a 15, and then of course James Pierce, you trade for him. So again, I mean, you've been making moves, but ultimately the roster, we don't even have a winning season under Terry Fontenot.
Nope.
So I mean, at the end of the day, like he has to be a part of this, and that's what I was saying before. And now you're reading it, or should I say, we're reading it to you right here. Yes, you must win. That's what you get hired to do. To fix the salary cap. To draft the right players. But also, so you got to draft to win, and we haven't
Right.
won.
Yeah. But speaking of Terry Fontenot, Scott said Fontenot has made unconventional moves. The most visible is signing Kirk Cousins to 100 million guaranteed, and then proceeding to draft red shirt class in 2024. He was instrumental in hiring Raheem Morris, and I just don't agree with that. He 13 and 18 since he took over, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe he was instrumental in it. I think he had to go along with it, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that, if that was Arthur Blank's guy, then you've got to find a way to make that coach look good, because that's who I want as the owner. And as I keep telling y'all, if the owner keeps sticking his spoon in the pot, mixing up the wrong ingredients, they're gonna throw the whole dish off. And that's what I mean by that. But to finish
I
this
ain't gonna
off,
lie. You
man,
remember what I said about that?
do your thing. Go ahead. So I
Nah,
finish off.
remember I said I feel like that was the one time where Rich McKay and Terry Fontenot actually came together and said, "Look, if we bring in Belichick, we both gone. We need to make sure we can
Yeah, you
bring in
did say that.
somebody that
Yeah,
can lead this team, and it still can be. We still can all still keep our jobs." That was the one
yeah.
time I feel like if there was any other time that they really collaborated, it was on that one right there. And then in comes Raheem Morris. But that's how I feel personally. I mean, nobody knows that or anything like that. But I mean, I'm just looking at it like, yeah, I think Terry was in on that because your
He could
job
have been. He could have
was
been.
up for grabs. You need
Yeah.
to think about it. Your job was up for grabs. Desperate
Yeah,
times call for desperate measures.
that's what I'm telling you, Chris. And that type of mentality is the reason why we can't follow behind the 8 ball. I get that you want to keep your job, and I get that Rich McKay still got a lot to say so. But at the same time, and like I said, Miss April, April Shower, she said, she talked to Rich McKay, and he said Belichick won't be here on his watch. But that is the wrong mentality to take when you have a coach that could, potentially turn his organization around. And don't get me wrong, one thing about it, as I told you with Bill Belichick, he's getting older, but he still has a strong football mind, and he still have people that follow what he taught them. Just look at what's going on in New England right now. Yeah, Gerard Mayo was a 1 year study, but he wasn't gonna cut it. We knew it. And Mike Vrabel, he was a polished coach in Tennessee, and the only reason he fell off was because of the front office change, and they weren't going along where he was saying. They traded away AJ Brown, lost Derrick Henry. So,
They still
when
trash.
but when you look at that situation right now, and then you look at what he got out of, it was a blessing in disguise. But these are the type coaches that you need in order to make your organization successful. Um, and you also need a GM that's going to work with that coach instead of making him comfortable. Make his seat hot sometimes. Tell him he got to do this, do that to push him to do great. Because it's just funny that as soon as we start talking about firing and last week in Tampa, they would not quit. Even though I think Tampa gave them the game, you suddenly just kept playing, and wouldn't quit. Where has that been all season? Where has
Fact.
Kyle Pitts been involved in the game plan been all season? See, you just don't do that when your job about to, come to an end. You do it every single week of practice, every day in the film room, every day when you game planning for the next game. You got to do that week in and week out.
Am I crazy for feeling like Zach just, saying like Zach may have too many weapons? Because I asked
I
that
don't believe in
because
that. I
I
don't
I
believe in
don't
that.
either, but I'm saying for Zach because you think about it, we've been saying Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, but it's been Drake London, Drake London, Drake London. Okay, cool,
Bijan Robinson too.
right. But as soon as Drake goes down, now it's Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts. Why can't you ever make it to where it's Drake London and Kyle Pitts maybe the same game, or maybe this game is Drake. This game, so we're gonna sprinkle in some Kyle Pitts though. We're gonna make sure Kyle gets, his touches, on a consistent basis. And I'm not talking about just one or two games. Um, and then maybe it's some games to where you just
Right.
know you have the mismatch. Take advantage of the mismatch, and we didn't do that until the Bucks game when Drake London has been out for multiple games. We finally take advantage of it, and it's
Right.
just I'm just
Right.
wondering, like, can he be able to orchestrate the offense enough, or should I say, can he be able to game plan the offense enough to where it's like, okay, depending on what's going on, this is where we're going, but everybody's still gonna eat.
And that's an excellent point because I was just about to say that. When you have the type of weapon we have, you should be able to sustain it week in and week out what you want to do. Okay, this week we playing such and such. I think Bijan fits best this week against this team. Next week, we're gonna game plan for such and such. I think Kyle Pitts, I think with what they have at the linebacker position, what they have at cornerback, they're weak at that position. Let's utilize Kyle Pitts and open everything up. See, it's ways to do things, but at the same time, they want to do things their way, and ego kick in because, as I keep telling y'all, I said it with Arthur Smith. When you in shotgun on the 1 yard line, something clearly wrong. When you got Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson back there, and you start getting the New Orleans game, they use three tight end sets. When have we seen them do that? 13 personnel. When have we seen them do that before that game?
It hadn't been
It
done.
took you
That's what
that
I'm
long
saying.
to figure it out. Took you that long to figure it out.
And that goes into my point of what I was just saying about the weapons and even just the formations, everything. Another, you think, dang, Smitty, that's another reason why we had to give Kirk Cousins that $100 million guaranteed, because we wasn't just paying for a quarterback, we was paying for another coach.
Exactly. Exactly. Nah, I thought about that, and I actually said that in the video. I think last year around the Denver game. But Zulu, thank you for the donation, my brother. He's Terry didn't hire the coaches. I agree with that. You got to admit, with a better coaching staff, this is a winning roster.
I like it.
Absolutely. And me and Chris been saying that
All right.
all season.
Yeah, right. Smitty, hey, we guys, we everybody, what I'm saying? Like, remember, me and Smitty, we're for Terry. We're just, responding to the article, and we have said some of the things that are in this article, but what I'm saying, weeks prior. So,
Yeah.
again, we're for Terry or Stan, but because he's attached to the hip of Raheem Morris out of all people, it's the wagon he got his horse attached to.
Facts.
And that's what makes me really worry, and everything that's going on in this article, things that we've said, it just makes me wonder. He has done well. I admit Terry been cooking, but at the end of the day, the results, so the results, we haven't had a winning season. We haven't had a winning head coach. None of now the Arthur Smith
Right.
thing, that's definitely not on him. That shouldn't be held against him.
Facts.
But with the whole thing, Raheem Morris, I personally, I do feel like he was in on that. But the players still got to play. The coaches still got to coach. He has nothing to do with any of that. Y'all are absolutely correct. But I'm just
Right.
talking about if we're talking about Arthur Blank being a businessman, we're from a business standpoint. Am I in the black or am I in the red? And we're in the red, y'all.
Yeah, we've been in
So
the
that's what
red
I'm
for a
saying. Like
while.
if we're breaking it down into a business sense, ain't no Fortune 500 company keeping Terry. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man. You haven't
Let's
got
fin-
it.
let's fin- let's finish out this article, man. A strong finish certainly wouldn't hurt their cause if Kirk Cousins finishes strong. It would justify a part of the quarterback decision made last year. But people familiar with Blanks thinking accept potential change in some form to football operation, regardless of how they finish, is what they saying. Nothing is decided and won't be until after the season, and we get that part. But at the same time, when will you just say, look, we screwed up, we got to make it right, and let's build this thing the right way. But let's get it. What's good, my guy? Me and him talked about this. I know it's 2 years straight. Thing that pisses me off, I've said for 3 years now. He has, as we don't use him, is that's Kyle Pitts. Can y'all explain to me how a running back has more target in the pass game than a tight end? I'll let you start that one, Chris.
I mean, that's what they game plan for. They want to make sure that they're using Bijan Robinson. And we talked about it before the season start. Please, Zach Robinson, don't make this a season to where it seems like you're running Bijan Robinson into the ground. You don't have to. It was a different situation when you had, okay, I understand. Oh, we're going to have you kind of like acting being like a CMC. We're going to have you like a Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's cute and all. But what happened to Christian McCaffrey in Carolina? By the way, he did not necessarily
Ran
have,
into the ground.
right, and he didn't have the support of a Tyler Algier behind him. You have the
Nope.
opportunity to extend Bijan Robinson, to save Bijan Robinson, to keep him fresh because you have a guy who is capable right behind him. And still, like, I mean, even you think about it, and even in the win against Tampa, Bijan was involved a lot in that passing game. Kyle Pitts too, but just think about it. If Drake London was there, it wouldn't have been all that. So that's what I'm saying. Like I go back to that weapons thing. But yeah, Bijan Robinson, he's going to have more targets because they're going to want to use Bijan Robinson. They're going to want to, like again, he's a big play threat, all the time. So they're going to want to use that. They're going to want to run it into almost darn near run it into the ground. And I hate it because I still like Tyler Algier. And I still feel like the Atlanta Falcons can be a better football team if they are able to figure out how to balance between Tyler and Bijan. But until you be able
Yeah.
to do that, or shoot, you only got 3 more games to do it because he possibly could be out of the door, and that's quite unfortunate.
And I
So
told y'all I didn't even care about he was leaving because I think he deserved better anyway. Cause on I know about a handful of teams, he's a number one running back. But Hill J said Bijan generational talent, but never should have been drafted. Tyler with our old line would have still gotten us 1,000 yards year in and year out. And Chris said
yep,
that too, and I've said it. So and that makes great sense. And but the reason why I knew we was going to draft Bijan was because it was something we never had in Atlanta before. We've always been a team that had power backs, such as a Michael Turner, such as a Gerald Riggs, William Andrews, Jamal Anderson. The only guy that we've had, and he wasn't even in Bijan's conversation, but he was a good dual threat back, and that was Warrior Dunn. Outside of that, when have we had a Bijan flashy type running back? I can't remember. Y'all got to remind me. And I get that. But if you got 1,000 yard back already here,
mm-hmm.
you could have went in another direction. We needed help on the defensive line. We
Mm-hmm.
needed help on the offensive line. We needed a number 2 receiver next to Drake. We needed a cornerback. We
Cornerback,
needed
yep.
safety. I mean, there were other positions that we could have traded back, got more picks. I mean, look.
Could have got a
But
linebacker. I don't know. Shit.
linebacker, absolutely, because the linebacker it's been decimated for years before Devon Diablo and Kate Ellis got here. So look, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. Point blank period.
Yeah.
So I mean, like y'all said, Terry, he gets some leeway, And like I hear y'all saying that he don't have much pull, and I agree with that 100% because I've been saying that. But at the same time, like Miss B said, if you don't put your foot down, you mean you gonna be the next scapegoat. It's just that simple.
And I can definitely see it. Like I can see that, you know, I can. And
Freeman
I hate
Freeman wasn't on the level of Bijan Robinson. Let's keep that real. Nowhere near. He was a good, two back system with Tevin Coleman, but he wasn't no Bijan Robinson. He wasn't.
bro, we know that. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
my thing is if Freeman, if he could have moved like Bijan Robinson, he definitely would have had way more than what he had, you know, just all around. Just but Freeman was good for us when he was here, you know.
agreed.
But so
He
unfortunately,
fit well in that system. Yeah, he fit well in that system. Go ahead.
and they said Nando, he said, unfortunately, Terry Fontenot will be the next scapegoat, and we will keep Morris just because he blank wants his buddy to continue to be the yes man. Our next coach will be a yes man too. Ouch. What you think about that, Smitty?
Oh, I told you. If we don't get a coach that makes the front office uncomfortable, we're not gonna change. If our next coach gonna be a yes man too, we're gonna have the same type record. We're gonna be the Cleveland Browns of the NFL in the NFC. And nothing gonna change. And one thing I liked about Dan Quinn, and I wasn't in the meetings, but I can tell he wasn't a yes man. He wasn't.
Right.
I could tell that. Some things you can tell.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he was a yes man at all. But and I don't want any yes men. You know, that's not what you want in your front office and as your coaching staff. You don't want that nowhere, man. But I'm really hoping that Terry is not the scapegoat. I'm hoping that Terry is given yet another opportunity to possibly, you know, continue to build off of this last draft, the last two drafts, really. I'm hoping that he can build off of these last two drafts and can move forward, and he'll be given that opportunity to, you
Right.
know. And I wouldn't mind like it be fully Terry's decision on who he chooses for next head coach, because you think about it, now we can have somebody that we really can start really just saying, okay, this was your hire, like solely your hire, not no song and dance or guessing games or trying to connect the dots. Like give the man the opportunity to hire somebody finally, because he hasn't hired necessarily just anybody straight outright. So like give him
Right.
opportunity. If you let Raheem Morris go and you keep Terry, you can give Terry an opportunity to see if he can go get the right head coach.
But
You know,
but
so
Chris, let's keep it real, bro. We knew things were about to go left when they told a lie on Terry Fontenot when Arthur Smith got here. Arthur Smith got
yeah,
hired before Terry Fontenot was even around. But in a press conference, they turned around and said that they gave Terry a chance to be involved in that. You cannot do that if he's not signed to a contract. So
my,
tell another fool that shit. Come on,
bro.
man.
My thing is, do the Falcons forget that they made a video of Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith walking on the field towards each other, meeting each other for the first time?
Exactly. My point exactly.
Like, do they think that people forgot about that or something? Like, we know that Terry Fontenot did not hire Arthur Smith.
That was Arthur Blank hired too. Because why? Shout rest in peace to his dad. Him and
Yes,
Arthur Smith's dad were good friends, good business partners. Let's keep that real.
yeah, man.
Let's keep it real.
Relationships matter. The people who you know.
Yeah, but sometimes it got to be the right. Sometimes relationships will get you messed up. Look at what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. Raheem is at right now. Look at what went on with Dan Quinn and Steve Sarkisian. Let's keep it real.
Jimmy Lake Lanier. I'm just saying.
Aries for life. Said Carl Duke said recently everything not fault, no fault, and we've said that. For the most
Mm-hmm.
part, he drafted well. Not questioning the kicking situation, special teams, but it's all coaching on the field for me, and that's absolutely true. And when you see things like this happen, how can you justify making these moves when the results are not there?
Fact.
So I mean, it's just so much that you can take from this man, but it's pretty much what we've talked about all season. Let's see. Sean said,
But Shanahan
Shanahan
sure.
sure didn't know how to use Freeman and Coleman. He didn't run one of them into the ground. That's true, and
That's
that's
my
called better.
point, Sean. I don't
That's
know if
called
Zach
better. Yeah,
Robinson
that's
can
called
do
better.
this thing.
He can't.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like you gotta get some experience in here because you got talent all around this team, and to be
Yeah.
mathematically already eliminated out of the playoffs. We was eliminated out of the playoffs after the Seahawks game.
Yep.
So really, technically,
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
right,
three
bro. So
weeks
it's just
ago.
like it's just like that's crazy. Like that Seahawks loss eliminated us completely. If we could have won that game, we still could have had a fighting chance. But we already knew that was going to be a tall task. And us as Falcon fans feel like it was really like, I mean, you look at it now as fool's gold, but at the time it was like, okay, we still in it. Like, can we keep it close and possibly catch them at the end or something? And then in the second half, 30, like it looked like something out of college, bro. It was 31-3.
Bro, when you a coaching staff, you supposed to be able to adjust all 4 quarters. It seemed like the second half of the game this whole season, the Falcons have not been able to adjust. The only way they won the game they won is because they beat teams the first half and beat them handily. But as far as being able to come back, they're not a team that can play from behind. Let's keep it real. And they did it a couple of times last year, but this year they haven't been able to play from behind. This is why they're so bad, and that's true. You drafting a year behind to try to catch up from the previous year. That's true to a certain extent. But this is why I said if Terry Fontenot, Raheem Morris leaves, nobody should be safe. I don't care who you are. I don't care. You see, that's what we got to think about. We want them gone, but are we willing to be able to break up? Because it's a business at the end of the day. That's just like me and Chris working on a job, and we the two highest paid people in the building, and we good at our job. But another GM comes from another company and say, "Hey, I want to bring my guys in."
Mm-hmm.
What me and Chris gonna be able to do about it? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing except for put in the application.
Somewhere else.
That's it. So that's what I'm saying. Like we do have to be careful what we ask for. Like we want Raheem gone. Who's next? We don't know. But I say if you keep Terry, let him make the decision. And let's see where we go from there, because that's one thing we haven't seen Terry be able to do. And I know some people may even ask, is he even capable of doing it? Well, I don't know. You don't know either. So let's try to find out if we keep the guy. I don't think he should be fired. I think, he should be given more power to see exactly what he can do as a GM. I mean, I understand coming in the door the first couple of years, brand new guy coming into this position of power and having this much responsibility for the first time. You probably want to bring him along, in the first couple of seasons. But now I think Terry has found his groove. I think he's found his stride. He knows the ins and outs of what to do. He already knew the salary cap, that he knew that coming in. But I feel like he's learned how to be a GM and draft and, even scout even more talent, etc. So instead of getting rid of that process, you possibly could keep him, because somebody made a good point in earlier. I mean, we had Thomas Dimitroff for like forever, but to Thomas Dimitrov's credit, we did have winning coaching. We did have winning seasons. We did have, we did draft pretty decent for the most part. When you think about it too, guys that we drafted for the most part, they did stay on the team for a little bit, and the only thing that really separated it was money. So that's the only thing that Thomas got going for himself. He had way more winning seasons.
But the thing is, Chris, too, Thomas wasn't scared to go out to big name players, superstar caliber players. He got Tony Gonzalez for a 5th round pick. He got
Yeah,
Michael Thomas
yeah,
coming from San Diego with a Daniel Thomason. He
yeah.
moved up the board to draft Julio Jones. This is what
Alex
they
Mack.
need. These free agent out of Alex Matt. These are the type thing that they need to do right now. This is why Joe Burrow name came to mind. These are the type moves, championship caliber moves. And to have a win now team and not a quarterback, that's frustrating. You draft for a quarterback eighth overall, but at the same time, did you really care about his medical report? No. And that's the thing. When the owner wants something, it's gonna get done either way. Cause look at what Jerry Jones does in Dallas. That Marcus Parsons trade with all Jerry Jones, and I give Jerry Jones his credit. It's worked out because they get two key defensive tackles off of it to build their defense around, and they still have three number one picks.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it, man, the owner has got to want to win bad, no matter what it takes. If you want to save them $35 million, make that trade to go get Joe Burrow. Or, as my boy Berto said, he made a great point. If you want a bridge quarterback, look at a Davis Mills in Houston. Look at what he
Mm-hmm.
did when CJ Stroud was out.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have the right offensive coordinator to make those kind of moves to make it work. Everything has to
Georgia.
fall in place. Willie, what's up, my guy?
What's up, Willie? How you feeling?
Torrance, I just hope this offseason they make the right decision with the coaching staff. Get some in here that can level this team up, and that's all we saying, man. Because look at what Jeff Ulbrich and Nate Ollie have done to that defense.
Mm-hmm. And but and by the way, Hill, I know he was talking about we passed on TJ for Tech. It's crazy because that was Jeff Ulbrich. He wanted
Right,
Tech McKinley.
right.
That's crazy about how things like come back around full circle. And it was one more comment. Hold on, where is it? Did I? Oh yeah, right here. Georgia Texas boy said not only not going after a quality right tackle after both of your top tackles go down is another bad decision. But there is a caveat to that. We really didn't have the money to go after anybody,
No, we
especially
don't, we only had like $5 million. We were
we
broke.
went after what we could go after, like which was, you know, you know, what we got, what we
John,
went after.
yeah, John Marino. I think Davis Mills played very well this year in CJ Stroud's absence. As long as he got a competent play caller, he can play well. He's a prototypical size, has a strong arm, and with the weapon that we have, I think he'll fit. Jay said he got a question. If we
Okay.
clean house, are we now in a rebuild or retool?
Mm.
And that's a good question.
Smitty, unfortunately, this is hard to answer, but and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we still it's all gonna come down to who is the coach and slash possibly or GM. That's
Yep,
really what it comes down to. Because if the
that's what I
GM
keep
and
saying.
coach comes in and
Yep,
says we can work with this, they just needed us. Let's go win football games. Then okay, we can retool. We can get rid of a couple guys, maybe bring in a couple guys, extend some guys, and go after this thing and really finally get to this playoffs and see what's going on. But it could be a GM or a coach that comes in and say, all right, we don't really have draft picks to do what I want to do. Let's see why we got assets. Let's see if we can move this person, move that person to try to gain more assets. Or let's try to see like if we can just build the team in our image. So with that being said, let's go trade this player to get this player, and all those different things like that. And that's when we're talking about a rebuild. Now, if you just completely just start auctioning players off, similar to how like the Jets have been doing, and like the Raiders, and just other teams, so just like kind of like auctioning guys off, then that's more so like of a rebuild. Like the Jets, they're already in a rebuild. This season right here was a rebuild season for them, period. Anyway, so like, but we have way better talent than the Jets, and we shouldn't be at a rebuild. But it all depends on who you brought in, bro. And
and
that's
that's
what
the
I was
bottom
saying. We're
line.
in limbo. That's what we're in limbo about.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. But for me to answer that question, I'm gonna say retool. And the only reason I say retool If they bring in, if he stays and they bring in another coordinator, I think all they have to do is add receivers, add a key offensive lineman, and maybe a cornerback, and we good to go. See, a retool can come. It's if they want to swallow their pride and let it happen. If they don't swallow their pride and let it happen and let Terry Fontenot do his thing, then yeah, it's gonna be a rebuild. But it can be a retool easily if they just step back, let the GM do his job. They hire the right offensive coordinator and the right wide receiver coach. Because TJ Yates got to go. I'm sorry, he got to go. Marquise Williams got to go. Zach Robinson got to go. So if you retool this staff the right way, it's a retool.
What my man snatched? What my man said on 8 Mile? You know, got to come back more, and you got to go. You got to go.
Yeah, exactly. And this is absolutely facts, Keith. It's sad we got 2 talent, but we don't allow 5 straight games twice. Make that make sense?
Ain't that some ish? And that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, and we've got under Raheem Moore since he's been, since our head coach, man. We got blowouts. We got a little bit too many blowouts for me. We just get ran out of the freaking stadium.
And it really don't seem like we have talent, but when you playing as bad as we are, it don't seem like we have talent. And another move they could have made, if they didn't want to go the pass rush route in the draft, they could have threw money at Myles Garrett instead of Kirk Cousins. If you wanted to go that route. And there were, like I said, other bridge quarterbacks other than Kirk Cousins out there, but you got to remember that Raheem's Morris boy from the Washington days. So these are the conversations had behind the scenes. And see, that's what I keep telling y'all. Raheem has overthought things and he put himself in this spot. Kirk Cousins, his boy. Zach Robinson, his boy.
Yeah. Jimmy Lake was his boy.
And what did I say earlier in the show? Friends get you in trouble sometimes, even when they ain't even trying to.
Comfort kills.
Hey, that's absolute facts, man. Worst division in football, and we have too much talent to rebuild. So if we put the right pieces in place in the coaching staff, we won't have to rebuild. It just retool.
Right.
And again, I know y'all didn't like it when I said it, but if you got to sacrifice Bijan Robinson and that $20-something million contract, by all means do it. Because you can re-sign Tyler, you can draft another running back to play alongside him, and it could work. Man, but you'll have that extra money to work with. If you want to bring in that superstar player, whether it's a Myles Garrett, whether it's a Joe Burrow, whether it's anybody.
Let me check the chat. Because I know, Smitty, you just got at least about 50. No, Smitty, not Bijan.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do, bro. Did Jerry Rice finish his career with the 49ers?
Oh, no. We know what happened with that.
Okay.
Joe Montana neither.
The greatest player to ever play in Jerry Rice did not finish. He played for 3 other teams. T.O., did he finish with the 49ers? Nope.
Or
he even had a better season with the Cowboys. Right. Randy Moss, did he finish his career with the Vikings? So y'all see where I'm going with that, right?
Yeah, man. Any given time, so depending on how business is done, players can be gone, man.
Hey, I wouldn't trade him either, but I'm just saying the business aspect. That's all I'm saying. If y'all want to win, sometimes y'all got to sacrifice the greats. If sacrifices, think about this, and we talked about it. Detroit had Matthew Stafford, their best quarterback in history, but they traded for Jared Goff. The Rams won that trade and got their Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Had never won a Super Bowl, but guess what? They got that right piece in place, and it paid off. That's all I'm saying. If we trade Bijan,
my
Right. If we trade Bijan and end up with that championship piece to win the Super Bowl, would y'all be talking about that 2-3 years down the road?
Nope. Only thing you'll be hearing is we are the champions.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying, man. See, I'm trying to make logic out of everything. Y'all trying to make it hard, but I'm trying to make logic out of it. If we want a Super Bowl and we want to win, sometimes you got to sacrifice. And I don't care who it is. That's just the way it goes.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, we traded Brett Favre. Look how that turned out.
Yeah, he turned into a Hall of Famer.
It happens. But he got into it, Jerry Glanville, and he couldn't stay out these bars and Buckhead and drunk and all that. But once he got his stuff together, guess what? He ended up winning the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls. No, he won one.
What? But guess what,
he won
Smitty?
2. No, he won
guess
one.
What, Smitty?
And they lost to Denver. Go ahead.
Yeah, when they lost to Denver, yes.
Yeah,
but
so it's one.
my point to what you said, like what you said about how he couldn't stay out of Buckhead. They were calling him Buckhead Brett.
Right.
You know, he was getting
and
into
the ball, drunk and fighting. Yeah.
Right, all that drunken and fighting, but it's so crazy how he went to a totally different team with totally different coaching staff, all that stuff like that, and ended up cleaning up his entire act, though.
That's because that organization has structure. How many times have I told you the Falcons organization does not have the proper structure?
That's why I said my
point. That's where it starts off at.
And it wasn't either Arthur Blank then. That was still the Smiths.
The Smiths, yeah, the Smiths. But it still don't seem like much change.
Again, my point exactly.
Keith, I got to hear a report on how his progress is going before I answer that. Because as I'm thinking about it, 3 knee injuries and injury to the same knee twice. We got to see.
That's fair. I feel like that's really fair.
Ricky Smith, he talking about Bijan. He said not on a Ricky deal and a generation of talent. But I'm telling you, you're gonna have to sacrifice something to win. You got to. And like I said, what if we get a new coach and a new GM? And he said, hey, we can use Bijan and we can rebuild this thing the right way. What are we gonna say then?
I mean,
I
feel like it's going to be some decisions that have to be made. It's going to be some decisions made, but we're going to have to figure it out,
Yeah.
But
I mean, Ricky, I get that we can get it from somewhere else. But at the same time, it's all about GM, coach, ownership. Hey, nephew, I thought about that the other day. I don't think he's going to retire, but I'm sure it don't cross his mind. I'm sure it has. Because, like I said, we just got to wait and see how that recovery go. Then we'll know exactly which way we got to go. Because y'all got to think, next year, Pence's 3rd year. When he comes back, it'll probably be his 4th year. And then you got to talk about 5th year option, which I'm sure they're going to decline. Yeah.
Possibly talk about a 5th year option. You got to remember, Smitty, he got to come back and ball if he doesn't play. He got to come back and ball.
That's why I said possibly. Yeah. So, woo, boy. Yeah, I that's why I said nobody's safe. Drake could get traded too. And I hate to say that because I like Drake. But it all goes to the GM and coach. But it's been another great show, man. We thank y'all for stopping through, man. As always, man, thank y'all for coming through, giving y'all thoughts. But it was something that we seen and we just had to talk about it right quick. Because we heading to the off season. And next month, the NFL free agent targets, the NFL draft targets are going to start. I'm going to start recording those and putting them up. And as the off season goes, y'all feel free to throw out a player that y'all been watching that y'all would like me to do a profile on. And if it's a good one, I'll make a profile on that. But it's free agents. it's probably gonna be thin this year. So it might not be many, but y'all will get some trade targets as well. That I think the Falcons can make trades for. And we don't have a first round pick, but again, you got to sacrifice, man. You got to sacrifice. So the only way the Falcons turn around, sacrifice. You're gonna sacrifice the coach or the GM, or you're gonna sacrifice the players, one or the other.
Get uncomfortable.
It's gonna be trouble.
Right.
But
You.
but you got any shout outs before we get out of here?
Oh man, of course, always, man. Shout out to the chat. Always joining the show, being a part of the conversation. We always appreciate you guys, joining us on these pop-up shows. We just be, really sitting around, and then sometimes we'll see something or we'll have a conversation and we'll be like, well, there's only one way to find out. Just take it to the chat. So, appreciate y'all for always showing up for us when we do that. And also, of course, A1 Forever Sports platform on YouTube. Come over and be a part of the A1 Forever family. Just crossed over 4,500, so I appreciate everybody who is subscribed over to A1 Forever Sports, and also subscribe to the Hawks Digest as well. Last two games haven't been going. Really, the month of December hasn't been going the Hawks' way. I mean, they're 2-6 in December so far, but at the same time, we're going to cover the Hawks and give you all the Hawks news over there at Hawks Digest, getting close to 3K subs over there. So just working and appreciate everybody. Like, seriously, really love these chats and stuff like that. So Twitter, A1 Forever, Instagram, A1 Forever, the real A1 Forever on TikTok. And make sure you guys are still finding your peace today, because positive energy always creates elevation. And I wish I was positive that we would have a new head coach, but I'm just not.
I knew that would come sooner or later. Yeah, Keith, that was one of my trade. That was one of my trade possibilities. I've been saying that for the last month and a half, and I hate to say it because I think Jesse Bates is superior talent, but you trade him this off season because if you play in one more season, you don't get nothing for him. You're gonna lose a great talent. Have to start over at the position. But they did draft Xavier Watts for that reason. But Jesse Bates absolutely is positively a trade candidate this off season. But Rudy, we appreciate you, my guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, y'all know where to find me, Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Also find me at FatBoySlim_21 on Twitter, because I'm always over there blowing that thing up. And two, I did a retweet the other day about the Falcon uniform and got 130,000 views. So, like I said, I'm always over there blowing that thing up. Keith, 20 million. That's my point. Yep, 20 million. That's my point.
20 million cap hit.
And we can at least get a third round pick for him at the least, depending on who it is. Could be a second, because there are teams out here that are dying for a safety. So we could possibly get a second round pick depending on what we trade him.
Let me ask you a question, real quick.
Go ahead.
If the Buccaneers offer you a second round pick, do you take it for Jesse Bates?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. Because I don't care about division in a division trade. I don't care about that. If they gonna offer that, that's on them. The Vikings would be another good team that he could go for, because Harrison Smith, I think he about to retire. And they lost Bynum to free agency last year, so that would be a good spot. But
they play in the dome now too. So
and then you think about it, man. If we have 2 second round picks, we can trade back into the first round, the bottom of the first, and possibly get a first round talent. So, look,
yes, sir.
These are the type things that you got to think about, man. That's why, hey, you can get another safety to go back there with Xavier Watts.
I'm just saying.
Then you get Billy Bowman back next year, and then you still had this pass rush. So that's gonna help the secondary out anyway. But I can keep going with that and keep going. But yeah, man, y'all know what to do, man. Keep following us, keep supporting us. We truly appreciate it. Hey, as I always say, man, keep hyping up our videos, man. The more you do that, hype us up, man. It helps us push these videos, man. Hey, nephew, I've been watching football a long time, man. It ain't GM knowledge. It's just things that I, pay attention to, man. I mean, it's just things that I see and I just pay attention. That's all, man. But thank y'all for tuning in with us, man. Tonight, we truly appreciate it. We will see y'all tomorrow after the Arizona Cardinals game on the post game show. Make sure y'all tune in. And y'all come through with the chat, man. Can we let y'all in talking, let off some steam. So tune in tomorrow. I think the game is at 4:00 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think
So
4:25.
So we'll be in here about 7:30 tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow at 7:30. Catch us for the Falcons Cardinals post game. But until then, we gonna holler at y'all later, man. Peace.
Peace.